Well, today we are going to talk about not only taking video on a device like an iPad, and we're also going to talk about how videography doesn't have to be limited to just iPads. There are other devices that we can use to not only take video but also edit video. And we're going to talk about sharing and publishing that. So I went ahead and emailed Darcia the link that I'm going to share, and if you guys want to jot this down, this may be the most technical part of the whole presentation here today. There is a link, and it's called a Google shortened link, and that means that it will take you to a longer web page. And so this is something that you guys can get afterwards if you don't have a device right now that you can put that link into. But it's goo.gl, and then there's a lot of letters that you have to get just right. So little c, big L, little v as in Victor, little j as in Juliet, little t as in Tango, and little I as in Indigo. That link will take you to some resource pages that I'm going to be sharing with you all, where you can learn more and see more examples about what we're going to actually talk about. I am right now a 4th and 5th grade STEM teacher, and that STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And it is pretty cool that you all wanted to do this today because I have the day off. We've been having parent-teacher conferences, and the state fair is here in Oklahoma, and so this is a day where actually I'm at home, and normally I'd be at school until about 4 o'clock for a couple more hours. For the last 3 summers, I have been teaching teachers how to do what we're going to talk about today, and that is to take short video and maybe do some editing with it and then publish that to the internet. And what I'd like to do first is basically show you an example from this week. At our school, I have a club that we call the Makers Club. And we just had our first meeting on Tuesday after school, and basically we make all kinds of cool stuff. And this week we made water bottle rockets that are made with 2-liter bottles that you put fins on with cardboard, and then we put it on a launcher and pump it up with an a tire pump, and then they blast off. Now, I can say that to you, but nothing would communicate the excitement of that as much as video. Now, when we play video over a video conference like we're going to be here, a lot of times it's not awesome quality, and I'm not going to play very much of this for you, but this video is an example of quick edit video on YouTube. It's on that page that I linked. I actually took that video with this phone that I'm audio recording our session with, and I shared it on YouTube from my phone. So I'll play a little bit of this. We'll watch about 30 seconds of this, and as you watch this, I want you to see what you notice about this video in terms of what's included in it. So I'm going to switch over to my computer, and now I'm going to switch over to YouTube, and I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen, and this is about a 4-minute video. I'm only going to play about 30 seconds of it. So here we go. Oh, hang on a second. I've got to plug in my audio here so you can hear this music that goes with this. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm going to pause. That was only about 30 seconds, but did anybody notice what did you notice about the video that I showed you? Anything at all? And don't be shy. Just if anybody can go ahead and speak up. So, what did you guys notice?
Go ahead if you notice anything.
Was it in slow motion?
It was.
Was it in slow motion?
It was in slow motion, right? That wasn't actually the video, being the video conference that we're in right now being slow. That was the actual video. So one of the things that newer phones and newer, I guess I should say this. I don't know for sure. There are some apps that can let you do this. It lets you shoot in slow motion. So rather than 30 frames per second, that was shot at 60 frames per second, and so it was playing back in slow motion. What else did you notice about that video?
There was music.
Again?
There was music.
There was music, that's right. And so one of the ways that we can do what I would call a quick edit to video is we can put video with some music and be able to share it that way. It's not always going to be the case that we want to have music, but in this case we were seeing something that had a lot of action, and it's kind of interesting to have some music. And I'm going to show you today an app that's free for your iPad. It also works on an iPhone if you have one, that will let you do that. Anything else that you guys noticed? Do you think I just turned my camera on and left it going the whole time, or do you think that I had a couple things put together there? I think I only had 2 launches, but you guys think I just left it on the whole time, or do you think I chopped it up a little bit?
I think you cropped it.
Yep, and yeah, crop. So that's a good word if you're used to photos and thinking about cropping a piece of it, chopping it up a little bit. It was most interesting in that video to see the launches, to see the actual, start of each blast off. And so rather than play what would have been about maybe 20 or 30 minutes of video, we only had about 3 minutes, and we had those exciting parts. So the first little app that I want to tell you all about, that if you have an iPhone or an iPad, I really encourage you to download and check out, is called YouTube Capture. And YouTube Capture, and I'll put the little link here, this is a free app that YouTube, which is owned by Google, I think put out maybe about 2 years ago. And what YouTube Capture allows us to do, and I'll demonstrate this, is take different video clips that we shoot, put them together in what we might call a collage video, and then, if we want to, add some music to the background. And we can immediately share that video on YouTube if we want to. We don't have to put it on YouTube. We can actually just save it, right on our device. But it is one of the great things about living today in 2014 is that more and more people not only have devices that can allow them to see video and to watch it, but that we have devices that allow us to create video and to share video. So I'm going to connect my iPad to the screen and kind of take you through the steps of how you would do that, how you would shoot the video, and then be able to put it together with pieces and add music. And that's the app that we're going to use for YouTube Capture. Before I do that, though, I want to show you the document that I gave you the link to. Does anybody there have a laptop or an iPad that's online right now that you guys can view a web page live? You may not.
I do.
Okay. If you, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to this document, and you don't have to do this. One of the things that's great for us to be able to do in a video conference is to have you ask questions and for me to try to answer your questions. This isn't a video that you're having to watch where you're just going to be able to pause and play again. You guys can actually ask questions. So as I share some things and I pause, I really would love for you guys to ask some questions. You could put those questions if you wanted to at the bottom of this document. But this is a Google document that I've created, and I'll make the text a little bit larger. I know you won't be able to see all of this just great. But basically, I have a couple different links that you can visit a little bit later if you want to, in order to get some more information and some more resources. The first page is a project that I've been working on for a couple years, and I've written a book about the first parts called Mapping Media to the Common Core. And I know you guys are homeschoolers. We in Oklahoma actually just voted to do away with this thing called the Common Core this summer. Actually, our legislature did. But whatever standards you use and whatever textbooks you use, I think it's really good to use media to show other people what we know and to be able to demonstrate what we know. And there are so many things that lend themselves really well to video. That launch of those rockets is one example. So on this page for mapping media, there's a page for quick edit video. And that page not only has examples like water bottle rocket launches and other things, there are all kinds of other examples of videos that you can see that are quick edit videos. One of the videos that I took that has almost more views than anything, my son loved, he's not as much into it now, to do string figures, and he did Jacob's ladder. And I won't play this whole thing for you, but I'll play one more quick example. Now this video doesn't show him. It shows it kind of shows his back, but it shows him doing Jacob's ladder. And this video has over 180,000 views. There is no way my son, and let's see, this was in 2008, and he was 11 years old. So he was 11 when he was doing this. There's no way that he would have been able to, share this with that many people if it hadn't been online. And there are a lot of people into string figures. Again, this is just an example of a video that we would call a quick edit video.
I'm going to do Jacob's ladder. Jacob's ladder is a medium/hard string figure. It's easy for some people, but not for others. It's one of the most well-known string figures and one of the string figures that I have on the top of my blog. To start out, you do opening A.
Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing for you. I will go actually to the very end, though. I'm gonna do what's called scrubbing to the end, because I think he does it. I think he does it fast. Let's look at this really quick.
Looks like this.
All right, this is fast. Okay, there is no way that I could do that fast. But being able to have a video that takes that step by step and being able to play it over and over again, I think there have been a lot of people that have enjoyed being able to do that. And so that was one of the probably first quick edit videos that we did together. So the websites that I shared with you have other examples of quick edit video, and they also have some other resources that you can look at as well if you're interested in finding out more beyond what we're going to do in today's workshop. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and plug my iPad in. I've got my computer plugged in, but I'm going to switch my connections and plug my iPad in. And as I do this, my iPad has the app that I had just mentioned to you already installed called YouTube Capture. It also has another app that I'm going to mention and talk a little bit about today called iMovie. And iMovie is a fancier app that you can use for editing your videos, but it's not necessary to use iMovie, which is a purchased. It comes free, I guess, with new iPads, but if you have an older one, it's not necessary to have that to do the kind of quick edit video that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to switch over to my iPad, and what I recommend when you take your videos, I recommend that you use just the camera app, the built-in camera. And this is going to be probably one of the most important things that I'll say today about shooting video. This is actually a little Nexus tablet that I have, and I've been playing with this. I do most of my stuff with iPads and iPhones, but I've been interested in an Android tablet, so I've been playing with this. And whatever kind of device and tablet you have, a lot of people that are taking video make the mistake of holding it up and down. I'll see if you can see this on the wall. They hold it like this when they take their video instead of holding it like this on the side, all right? Here is everybody else taking video with their iPad or their tablet. Here is you taking video with your tablet, right? Does anybody know why it's so important to turn your tablet or your phone to the side instead of having it up and down. Anybody have any idea about that? Yes, in the back.
Because you get a wider view whenever it's on its side. And
That's
also
right.
have a question. What model Android tablet is that?
This is a Nexus 7. So I got this at Best Buy for $219, which was a pretty good deal. And that was one of the reasons I was interested in it too, because the Nexus, the Android tablets are less expensive. So I've been interested to see what I could do with this relative to what I could do with the iPad. One of the biggest limitations of this is it doesn't have iMovie, but I certainly can, shoot video and publish it, similarly to what I was, what I showed you earlier with the rocket video. So what you said is exactly right. You are going to cut off the edges of the video, and maybe, just like I've shown you some other examples, maybe I should show you just a fast example of what that looks like. Here's an example. This is a video that one of my students took in class last week of a little Rube Goldberg project we were doing, which is a kind of an experiment where they have one thing leads to another. So they were making a pendulum swing, and then it was knocking down. So here it is swinging around, and then it's going to knock over those stacked paper towel rolls. Okay, that was an example of why we want to shoot our video.
It's afternoon here in Wheeling, West Virginia. I want to
Oh,
welcome you to
we're hearing some bleed over on some audio.
The topic of our e-lab is going to be...
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mute. I've got 2 conferences going on. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. So let me go ahead and switch over to my iPad so I can show you guys YouTube Capture. The first thing that I want to, again, recommend is that when you guys shoot your video, you shoot it horizontally, okay, in a landscape mode, not vertically. And what I'm going to do now is talk about where the photos go. So on the iPad, I'm going to open up my photos, and even though it says photos, all of your video goes in here as well. And these are all different videos that are saved here on my iPad. You can actually see there are a few of these that are shot vertically, but most of them are shot horizontally. And these are videos that we can, play on the iPad, but we can also use a different program to share them or to combine them. So what I'm going to do now is I just pulled down in the middle of my screen so that I could search, and I'm going to start to type the word capture so that I can hunt for the YouTube Capture app that's going to open up. Like I mentioned, YouTube Capture is a free app that Google has made, and this app is going to allow you to combine videos together, and it's also going to let you add music to videos as well. So as the app opens up here, I guess what I'll look at first is I'm going to click on my settings. You don't necessarily have to be sharing these videos online. YouTube Capture will allow you to do what I'm going to show you, combine the video and put the music with it and save it right back to your iPad. But like I mentioned, I think one of the most exciting things today about having access to technology is being able to share and publish video. So what you kind of need to do before you're on this app would be to create a Google account if you don't have one, and you can create a YouTube channel. YouTube is free not only for us to use, but also to watch video, but also for us to publish. This last summer, I went to a conference where somebody said this sentence to me, and this really blew my mind. The statement is, YouTube and Google give us free, unlimited, high-definition video storage and sharing forever. In other words, there is no charge for any of us to create an account on YouTube and to publish not just low-quality video, but high-definition video, and they will store and share it forever. Have any of you guys seen Gangnam Style, the video by the South Korean. I'm not going to sing it or dance to it. Did you guys ever see the video Gangnam Style? I see a couple people smiling. Okay, a couple people are saying they admit they did. You don't have to. Yeah. So that video is the first video that over 1 billion people, or it was seen over 1 billion times on YouTube, and YouTube has been able to make money from video being shared. So anyway, I've been sharing video and trying to share video online probably since the late 1990s. And today, there are still a lot of steps, but it's easier than ever to be able to do. So let me show you how this works. YouTube Capture has all of your videos that are on your device over here on the left. And I've got several different green screen videos that some of my students have created. And what I think I'll do as a demonstration is I'll show how I can combine those. I'm going to tap on my iPad right next to one of these videos. And I have a couple choices here if I want to do something different with this video. Have any of you guys ever played with a green screen before? Or does anybody know what a green screen is? I bet somebody does. What does a green screen do? You've not played with one? What does a green screen let you do?
It allows you to select the scenery, I guess.
Exactly. It allows you to decide what's behind you. So this particular video, this student of mine was not standing in front of a weather map. She was standing in front of a screen that was green, but then we took that picture and put it behind her. So it's something that we see a lot on the news, and even when you see a reporter who says, "Here we are, reporting live from Washington D.C. or from Anchorage," or a lot of times they are there, but sometimes they'll have a picture in the background that won't really be where they're at. Anyway, we could just publish this one video as it is and not make any changes to it. But what YouTube Capture lets us do is make some edits. Down here at the bottom, there are some bars that I can slide to change where this video is going to start and where this video will end. And somebody earlier mentioned cropping. Cropping a picture means cutting down a smaller piece and not showing the whole thing. Cropping a video is similar in that you can change where you're going to start and where you're going to end. You can trim your video. Here's another important tip for taking video. Always start recording early rather than late, because it's easy to trim off extra video, but if you don't turn your camera on in time and you miss somebody starting to do something or starting to say something, you can't get that back. So what I like to do as a technique is when I've got my video camera, you hold your tablet with two hands, make sure you've hopefully got a case on it just in case it drops. And then I like to, nod to somebody, or maybe I'll give them a thumbs up, but that's a signal that we're rolling. And that way they don't start talking before my camera starts recording. So that's the first thing YouTube Capture lets us do, is we don't have to start this video at the beginning. We can trim it by dragging those little sliders at the bottom up or down. The other thing we could do, and for this particular video it wouldn't be as appropriate, but we can add music. And there's a button right here at the top that says Add Music, and I can either choose music that I have in my iTunes library from my device, or choose what are called YouTube soundtracks. Now, there's a lot of issues around what music we will put online, and some musical artists don't want us to take their song and put it on YouTube with our own video. There are a lot of people who do, but some people don't. And one of the nice things about YouTube Capture is that they have gotten permission from people who created this music to share it, and you shouldn't have to worry about, is this going to be okay? Are they going to tell me I have to take my video down? Basically, the permission has already been obtained for these different songs. You can tap on these different songs. This one's called Dreams. Let me see if I got my volume up. So that's going to be kind of a quiet one. This one is called Garage. It's a little rock and roll. This one's called So basically, there's different moods to the music. There's about 15 or 20 choices, and you can select one of those music tracks that you like, and then you'll tap done. That music will then be behind your entire video. And like I said, it's not always going to be the case that you want music, but sometimes it's kind of neat. And that is a feature of this free app that I really like and I use sometimes. So if we didn't want any music, we would say cancel, and then it's not going to put any music, and it'll say done. The other thing you can do with YouTube Capture is you can add more than one video. And so at the bottom in the bottom right corner, you may not be able to see it, but there is a plus. That's what I'm going to click on now. And when I tap this plus, it asks me, do you want to record a new clip or add an existing clip? And I'm going to say add an existing clip, and it's going to show me every video clip that I have on my iPad. And so now I can choose another video.
Hello, and welcome to the Fruit Channel. I'm your fruit lady coming right at you from KTL.
Okay. So if that's something that I want to add, I can go ahead and hit choose. You can see that my students are kind of having fun pretending like they are on the news. And so there's lots of creative things that they're making. But basically, this app allows us to take as many videos as we want and put them together in a single video. And that's what I would call a quick edit. Changing the start and the stop time of the video, maybe adding more than one video, maybe adding music, and then sharing it. So let's take a look last at what this sharing process looks like. After I have chosen my start and my stop points, and I can do the same thing here that I was doing before. If I want to change where it starts or where it stops, I don't want to do quite as much, I can do that. If I've got that set like I want, I tap the arrow up in the upper right corner, and now it's going to ask me what I want to call this. So by having a channel on YouTube, you can directly publish from your iPad, and this actually works on an iPhone as well, that video to YouTube so that it can be shared with others. At a minimum, you want to put a title in. So I'm just gonna put testing. So this is just, and I won't actually keep this one up there. And then I've got a couple other choices of things that I can select. Let's talk a little bit about privacy really quick. There are 3 options, which I don't think you can read very well, for YouTube videos. They're public, they are unlisted, and they are private. Now, does anybody in the room here have an unlisted phone number or know somebody who has an unlisted phone number? I don't think they're as common anymore, but does anybody know somebody who does? I see a hand. If your phone number is unlisted, can I call it if I have that number? Does anybody know?
Nope.
You can. Yeah, you can. If I know the number, I can call it. So an unlisted YouTube video works the same way. Yes?
Somebody,
You guys hear me?
Jared had a question.
Go
Jared
for it.
had a question. Go ahead.
Back to the whole quick edit music stuff, I didn't get to ask my question. How
Yes.
can you add several soundtracks to a single video?
Did you catch that?
I did hear that. I will go ahead and open up the iMovie app after this and show you a few basics of iMovie. iMovie, if you think about kind of the very beginning easiest and then they go up, the easiest publishing and sharing a video is just take the video like it is and publish it. I would call that a no-edit video. We just publish the video like it is. YouTube Capture will let you add one track of music or of audio, but that's it. And it doesn't let you edit the music inside. It will just repeat it. But you can have multiple videos on it. So it's kind of like level 2. Level 3 on the iPad would be iMovie. And iMovie will let us be fancier with several different tracks of video and audio. And then the top level for what I have played with and used is an app called Pinnacle Studio. Now, Pinnacle Studio is $15, and as iPad apps go, that's pretty expensive. But it lets you have, I think, up to 3 video tracks and 2 different audio tracks, and you can be very, very fancy with that. So that's kind of how you can get fancier if you want to go beyond the basics of kind of what we're talking about here. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here in the YouTube Capture app, we're going to need to choose how we want to share our video, and if it's unlisted, it's not going to be publicly browsable that people could find it, but if they have the link, they could share it. This is a really important part about video. Whenever you take someone's video, always get their permission. Okay? Is anybody there been on a video that somebody's shared on Facebook before or on YouTube? I bet there's got to be somebody.
We have a couple people.
A couple people. All right. So this isn't something that everybody is doing today, but it is really important to get people's permission. You know, when I was in school, people didn't have phones in their pockets at all, and they definitely didn't have phones that could take video. And so it's an important part of what many people would call digital citizenship, to not only learn about what's right and wrong with sharing music and do I have permission to do that, but even just, can I share this video? So if you think you're going to share the video or you want to share the video on YouTube, just get that person's permission. Hey, I'm recording a video and we're doing interviews about our town. Could I have your permission to take your video and share it on the internet or to share it on YouTube? So anyway, I don't think you should put a video online on YouTube unless you've got that permission. But there is another choice that's called private, and that means only you or the people whose email address you use can see the video. The other thing that I'll mention here is that when you tap these 3 little dots that are over here, there are more choices. One of the choices is to export the video. And what that means is that instead of sharing it to YouTube, I can actually just have it on my iPad, and then, you know, I can play it on my iPad and share it with other people. So the YouTube Capture app is, I think, a very powerful free application that doesn't cost any additional money. And while you can take video inside YouTube Capture, I think it's best to just use the camera app to shoot your video. Remember to shoot it horizontally, not vertically, okay? And then you can put it together with YouTube Capture, and if you want to share that online. So does anybody want to ask any other questions about YouTube Capture, or I can go back into that and show that again, or anything you guys would like to ask before I talk a little bit about iMovie?
In YouTube Capture, you're talking about playing music over the video and the permission they get from the artists of the music and stuff. Will they let you put on any music like you have from your iTunes library? Will they say, sorry, we don't have permission for this?
Great question. So the question is, you know, when you have music that's on your iPad, how does that work from a copyright standpoint? First of all, the music does have to be downloaded onto your iPad for you to put it in. I use something called iTunes Match, so all like 4,000 songs that I have are all uploaded to Apple, and they're not all on my device. If I want to put a song in with a video in a background, I've got to download it to my device. It can't be in the cloud. The short answer to your question is no. It will not prompt you right away and say, oh, you don't have permission to share that, Maroon 5 song or whoever the musical artist is. And I won't talk about this super long, but there is something called a takedown request. And if somebody posts a video on YouTube that for some reason, and there are a lot of different reasons why, somebody doesn't want it on there, they can flag it to be taken down. And it really depends on the musical artist, whether they are, and this is even their company that they work, usually that they, publish their albums with. Some of them like to have fan videos, and they like to have people doing karaoke and singing and dancing. Or do you guys like? How many of you have seen What Does the Fox Say? Has anybody seen What Does the Fox Say? Is that okay? Some of you guys have seen that. It isn't that crazy. I live in Oklahoma, you live in Alaska, and some of us have seen the same video. Well, that's been seen millions of times. There's a lot of different fan videos that people have done, that they're happy with. So you won't find out if they want you to do that or not until you publish your video. And your account can get what are called strikes, and if you have 3 strikes, your account can be disabled. So the safest thing to do is to use that copyright-friendly music, but you also can kind of do your research and your homework, and if you find that musical artist song on a lot of other websites, then that probably means that it's fine for them to publish it. A lot of times now you can click in YouTube to buy that song on the Google Play Store or in iTunes, and that's how musical artists are getting their songs out, is people will watch them on YouTube. Oh, look, my daughter, my youngest child is in 5th grade. She loves Minecraft. Does anybody there play Minecraft? No? Yep, a couple hands, all right. And she also loves My Little Ponies. And so anyway, we've bought songs on iTunes that, she found on YouTube because somebody made a video and it was all about Minecraft and My Little Ponies. All right, but that's a great question. Any other questions about YouTube capture or about posting? Because these are important questions. You may run into that when you publish. The worst thing that would happen is you would have a takedown notice, and they would say you can't use that video, and then you delete it. And if you repeatedly post that you don't have the right to share the song, they can suspend your account. But that's with three strikes. So you can also defend it and say, no, I do have permission because of this, or you can defend it. But the safest is to use music that you've got permission or that you're sure that the artist is good with. Any other questions you guys would like to ask about what I've discussed so far?
I have a question. If you have a video that you want to keep and you mess with this capture thing and you butcher the thing, can you still get back? Will it delete or completely edit that clip that you have, or can you go back to it?
Great
somehow?
question. You are safe. This is called non-destructive video editing. And so the original video files remain on your photo roll on your iPad, and what you're doing in YouTube Capture is it's really copying those and it's making a different version. So it is not destroying those videos. As long as you don't delete them yourself from your photo roll, they are still there. And YouTube Capture is going to be making a new version. That's a great question. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, be thinking about more questions. I want to show you really quick a little bit about iMovie. And I want to mention one other thing, though, before I go to iMovie. Something that's really new. In fact, this summer, YouTube created something called its Creator Studio. And, I guess I'll just mention this. Maybe I won't, because I don't want to switch back to my laptop. But every YouTube account now has something called a Creator Studio, where you can actually edit video like we're doing, and you can put multiple videos together. And they have, I want to say, over 150,000 songs that you can choose from to put in the background of your videos. So YouTube Capture has like 15 or 20 online in what's called the Creator Studio. You have to use a laptop basically to access that. They have a lot more songs, and you can do some of this quick edit video editing as well on their website. This is new. It used to be all video editing happened on a laptop or a desktop computer. Now, because phones are becoming much more powerful and tablets, we have the ability to do this on a mobile device, and then we're also able to do that on websites. So the last little thing I'd like to show you is called iMovie. And so I've got a folder of apps here on my iPad with some different editing apps the first one that I'm not going to open right now is Pinnacle Studio. That's that $15 program I mentioned that's really the fanciest video editing program that I've used. But I'm going to go ahead and open up iMovie. iMovie is free if you have a relatively new iPad, meaning an iPad that was, I would say, purchased in the last year or so. And I'm going to give you just a really quick introduction to how iMovie works. So iMovie is going to let you create projects and do a lot more fancy editing than what you could do with YouTube Capture. It also lets you create something called an iMovie trailer, and I'm sure you've been to the movie theater or seen a preview of a movie. Those are called trailers sometimes, and you can actually create with your own footage a pretty amazing trailer that Apple basically already has music and already has transitions. It looks really fancy, and you can do that inside iMovie. If you're going to use iMovie, you're going to tap the plus that's over in the corner, and the first thing you decide is, do you want to do a regular movie or do you want to do a trailer? I'm not going to do a full trailer, but I'm just going to show you this because this is really, if you're thinking about Android tablet versus iPad, the Android tablet cannot do this. The iPad is the only tablet right now today that has this kind of capability. You select the theme, so you can do fairy tale or expedition is going to have. Here, I'll show you some of the music. Maybe. This is how it's going to look when you start. You're going to put your own name at the beginning. And so you're going to put in your own footage here instead of the footage that they have. When you tap Create Trailer, you fill in the names for what you're going to call your movie, who your cast characters are, what the name of your studio is, and then in the storyboard, you are going to drag clips over here and you're going to tap, and those little clips are going to go in to these little segments. So this is called a storyboard, and so you pick the video segments that you want, and you tap, and they go over there. So this is really, really amazing and very, very fun, but I would say it's a little bit more advanced than what we would do with just a quick edit video. You can also take still pictures, so everything doesn't have to be full motion video. You all would probably laugh to see how we sled in the wintertime in Oklahoma. We get so little snow that, you all probably get a lot of snow, I'm guessing. We don't.
Yes.
But I've taken some video footage of our kids sledding, and we have a dog that went sledding with us. Anyway, we put that into a trailer. It's a very fun way to be able to see, video footage and action footage and stuff like that. So that's an iMovie trailer. The other choice is to just do a movie. And just like the trailer, you have these different themes that you can select, and they have different colors that'll go with the transitions. I kind of like the travel one, or there's one at the end called the CNN iReport, so it's kind of like you're a reporter, and you can show on the map where you are. So I'll go ahead and say I want to create a movie. And what happens now is up here in the upper right corner are all my videos. So let's say I want this to start with this report with the orange here. I can tap and put that video down here at the bottom, and I can start making some edits to this video. So she doesn't start right away. Down here at the bottom, if I tap the little sound waves, I can see the audio and where she comes in. And if I don't want to start here,
Hello and welcome.
I can actually tap on it, and like we saw in YouTube Capture, I can move where that video starts. So it can start right where she begins talking.
Hello and welcome to the Fruit Channel. I'm your
Okay. The other thing that I can do here on iMovie, which is a little bit different, is I can put titles on parts of my video. So I'm going to choose to split my video. So this first part is going to be separate, and I'm going to tap to add a title. And this is where I could say, welcome to I'll say the orange show or whatever we want to call this. But this is going to actually show this title at the beginning. And if I wanted to be really fancy, there's something that's supposed to look like a map pin over here. And let's see if I can get Alaska. Obviously, I did not shoot this in Alaska, so I'm not telling the truth if I say that I shot this in Alaska. That is not where Alaska is. Let me see if we can. You guys are close to Fairbanks, right?
Yeah.
It won't have every small town, but it has most larger towns. So let's say if we can do Fairbanks, Alaska. And it didn't work. Huh. I wonder why it's... it should put... Yeah? Okay. There's a... Oh, maybe I needed to... Usually you're putting in the location where you actually are, and it'll usually, well, let me demonstrate that. There's a little map button where it'll select. So see there it says Oklahoma, which that is where I actually am. So anyway, iMovie and getting into the intricacies of iMovie is really a little beyond what I would call quick edit video, since you can now do some of that with simpler apps. But I love being able to not only have video, but take music and have words and be able to combine them and put them together and being able to share them. And I have found that the iPad, especially with iMovie, it's the most powerful tool I can use in order to record, edit, and publish video. 2 years ago at our school, we had 13 different teachers of the year, and they asked me to interview another teacher at the school and 3 students who had had that teacher. And I did 13 of those videos in 2 days, going to each school, and right after I shot the video, I just used iMovie to put their video clips in, put the titles on, and publish the videos to YouTube. And if I had an old, camcorder, a big old camera like you see a news crew have or something, there's no way that I could have done that in 2 days. So while it's limited in some ways and you can't do everything you might possibly want, iMovie lets you not only, trim your videos, but add your titles. It lets you add music in the background, and it even has advanced features where you can put what's called a picture-in-picture. So you could have somebody talking along, and then you could show another video that would come up and play as they continue to talk. And that's a more advanced video feature that you probably see all the time on television and in movies, but it's a little bit more advanced. So I'm just giving you a small little taste of iMovie. But what questions do you guys have, or anything else that you'd like to ask about quick edit video? And if you want to, we could also go over to YouTube Capture. I think we're kind of getting close to our time, but we were delayed a little bit, so we can extend just a bit if you guys want to. Questions you have?
Does the iMovie work on iPod touches?
Yes, it does. Now, some people call that almost like painting on a grain of rice, that it's so small. But I have actually, created several iMovies on my phone. It depends the generation of iPod Touch that you have. I want to say it needs to be an iPod Touch 4th generation or newer. If it's one of the early iPod Touches, it may not run the newer iMovie, but it does support iMovie, and as far as I know, all the features are the same. In other words, the themes that are available, being able to do a movie trailer or a regularly edited video, you can do both of those on an iPod Touch. Good question. Another question?
You had another application on there for video, and you said it was I don't know, maybe better or something. But is it easier to work with?
I don't think so. The name of that app is, and I'll bring it up and show it to you real quick. It's called Pinnacle Studio, and so well, maybe I'm not going to. My connection may have. Oh, there we go. Pinnacle Studio. It is more advanced in that it allows you to have up to 3 different tracks of video, and it allows you to have 2 different audio tracks. So I definitely, it's more complicated, but it has more features. So you can kind of think of it as stair stepping. Easiest thing is take your device, shoot your video, watch it, publish it to YouTube. It's called a no edit video. One step above that would be YouTube Capture for basic trimming and merging a video with music, and then iMovie is number 3 and Pinnacle Studio is number 4. I've launched it, but I haven't launched it in a long time, and it's actually finding all the music that's on my device and organizing it, and then my videos and stuff like that. So it's taken a minute for it to find all that. One of the great things though about the iPad is you got to be careful when you say this is easy, because something that's easy for one person isn't always easy for somebody else, depending on what they've done before. But the iPhone and the iPad have changed a lot of our ideas about how quickly we should be able to open an app and figure something out. And so that's also why YouTube is so wonderful, is a lot of times if you wonder something, I wonder how I do a picture-in-picture video on YouTube or in iMovie. You can find a video about that on YouTube, that somebody could is teaching you how to do that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't say Pinnacle Studio is easier. I would say that it's easier than many desktop or laptop-based video editing programs, but here it goes. It's finally open. But it's more complicated. So this opening screen, when you tap here on the question mark, it shows you all these different choices to start projects, import them. So if I import a project, I give it a name. And then it's similar. There's a timeline here at the bottom. I've got my shelf of video up here. All these little clips that are these little sort of sticky notes are showing me what I can do. I've got more things at the bottom that are my tracks. So I can have 3 different audio tracks and 2 different video tracks. So if you want to do fancier video editing on the iPad, that's the app that I would recommend. But you can do all kinds of great stuff, even just with YouTube Capture and with iMovie. Any other questions?
It's not.
Okay. Well, here's your homework. Are you guys ready for your homework? Did you think you were going to get homework today? Your homework is, I'd love for you to go shoot some video and then use YouTube Capture to just combine some of your clips and trim some of your clips, okay? Because I've shown you guys some possibilities, but you really learn this stuff as you get to play with it and as you get to do with it, as you get to create with it. So if you've got an iPod Touch, if you've got an iPad, or you can borrow one, that's what I'd recommend, is shoot some video and use YouTube Capture and just kind of see how that works to do some basic trimming, and if you want to, adding music as well, depending on if you've got people talking and stuff like that. If it's more action or scenes, then it might go with music a little bit better. Okay. Well, that link that I shared with you guys at the beginning, I'll leave that up here on my screen, but I've emailed that to you all, and that might be something you all can share, because that's got some other resources to be able to learn more. So hope you guys make some cool videos. I'd love to see where you guys live in Alaska. I've never been to Alaska before. So I put my Twitter ID on the page. I'm W Fryer on Twitter, and you could shoot me a tweet and say, hey, Wes, check out this cool video we did. That'd be awesome.
All right. Thank you, Wes.
All right. Thank you guys very much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.